Libya, a land where the desert meets the sea, and a name that has echoed through thousands of years. But where did this mysterious name actually come from? The answer is a journey that takes us back to ancient empires, forgotten tribes, and the very foundations of how we see the world. It's a story written in sand, stone, and the memories of civilizations. The name itself is more than just a label on a map. It's a thread that connects modern Libya to a past that is deeper and more complex than many people imagine. It speaks of survival, of identity, and of the incredible power of a single word to endure through millennia of change. Imagine standing on the Libyan coast. To one side, the brilliant blue of the Mediterranean Sea stretches out towards Europe, a highway for traders, armies, and ideas for thousands of years. To the other, the vast golden expanse of the Sahara Desert rolls south, a formidable ocean of sand that has challenged and shaped human history. This unique geography is the key to understanding Libya. It has always been a crossroads, a place where North Africa connects with the wider Mediterranean world. Its fertile coastline attracted Greek colonists and Roman governors, while its desert interior was home to resilient nomadic peoples who mastered the harsh environment. This meeting point of cultures and climates made it a land of constant interaction and immense strategic importance. This strip of land, caught between the sea and the sand, was a vital corridor for ancient civilizations. For the pharaohs of Egypt, the lands to their west were a source of both trade and threat. For the Greeks, this coastline was a new frontier, a place to build magnificent cities like Cyrene and expand their influence. The Romans saw it as a breadbasket, a vital province that supplied their sprawling empire with grain and olive oil. Its ports were bustling hubs, connecting the African interior with the great cities of Rome, Athens, and Constantinople. The story of Libya is fundamentally tied to its location, a bridge linking continents and a stage for some of history's greatest dramas. The very name Libya is a product of this geography, born from the interactions between the settled people of the Nile Valley and the nomadic tribes who roamed the western deserts. It wasn't a name that the land gave itself initially. Instead, it was a name given by outsiders looking west, trying to make sense of the vast, mysterious territory that lay beyond their own borders. Understanding the origin of this name means looking through the eyes of ancient Egyptians and Greeks, and seeing this land as they saw it, a vast, often unknown, but profoundly important part of their world. It is a name that began as a description of a people and grew to define a continent. Our journey to find the source of the name Libya begins in the grand courts of ancient Egypt. More than 3,000 years ago, the powerful pharaohs ruling from their magnificent cities along the Nile were acutely aware of the world around them. In their temple inscriptions and papyrus records, they wrote of the peoples who lived on their borders. To their west, in the vast desert lands, lived a collection of tribes they collectively called the Libu. These were not a single unified nation, but rather a diverse group of semi-nomadic people known for their distinctive appearance, often depicted with fair skin, beards, and elaborate tattoos, wearing cloaks and feathers in their hair. These Libu tribes were a constant presence in Egypt's history. Sometimes they were trading partners, bringing exotic goods from the deep desert to the markets of the Nile. At other times they were formidable adversaries. Egyptian pharaohs like Ramesses II and Merneptah recorded great battles against coalitions of Libu warriors who swept in from the west, seeking to raid the fertile delta or even settle there. These inscriptions, carved into the stone walls of temples at Karnak and Medinet Habu, are our first written evidence of the name. They speak of the Libu with a mixture of fear and respect, acknowledging their strength and persistence as neighbors and rivals on the world stage. The Egyptians didn't see the Libu as just another tribe. Over time, the term Libu became a general word used to describe the people living in the lands west of the Nile Valley. It was a broad label for the inhabitants of the North African coast and its hinterland. These were the people who controlled the oases, navigated the desert trade routes, and possessed a deep knowledge of a landscape that was mysterious and intimidating to the Egyptians. Their identity was so intertwined with the Western lands that the name Libu became synonymous with that entire direction. For an Egyptian looking west, the world was, in a sense, the land of the Libu. This Egyptian understanding is the very first seed from which the name Libya would grow. It wasn't a name for a country yet, but a name for a people and the region they inhabited. The hieroglyphs that form the word Libu are the ancient ancestors of the modern name. They represent a moment in history when one great civilization looked out at its neighbors and gave them a name that would stick. This name, born in the administrative and military records of pharaonic Egypt, was destined to travel far beyond the Nile, carried by the currents of history to new cultures and new empires. The next chapter in our story belongs to the ancient Greeks. As their civilization flourished, they became intrepid sailors and explorers, venturing out across the Mediterranean. When they sailed west from Greece and Egypt, they encountered the vast North African landmass. They learned of the Libu people from their interactions with the Egyptians and from their own explorations. Taking the Egyptian name, they Hellenized it, transforming Libu into Libya. But the Greeks did something remarkable with this name. They expanded its meaning on a scale the Egyptians had never imagined. It was a transformation that would shape geography for centuries. For the Greeks, Libya became the name for the entire known continent of Africa. In their early maps and geographical writings, the world was divided into three parts: Europe, Asia, and Libya. Herodotus, the famous Greek historian who traveled extensively in the 5th century BC, wrote a great deal about Libya. He described its diverse peoples, its strange animals, and its vast, unexplored interior. For him and his contemporaries, everything south of the Mediterranean, from Egypt's western border to the Atlantic Ocean, was simply Libya. The name had grown from describing a specific group of tribes to naming one of the three great land masses of the known world. The Greeks didn't just map this land, they made it their home. From the 7th century BC onwards, Greek colonists established a series of prosperous city-states along the fertile coastline of modern-day eastern Libya. The most famous of these was Cyrene, a city renowned for its wealth, philosophy, and medical school. This region, known as Cyrenaica, became a vibrant part of the Greek world. Yet even as they settled and named this specific province, the broader name Libya remained in use. It was a name that held a dual meaning: the immediate region west of Egypt and the entire continent beyond. This Greek adoption and expansion of the name Libya was a pivotal moment. It cemented the name in the consciousness of the Western world. Through Greek writers, philosophers, and geographers, the name Libya entered the classical vocabulary. It was no longer just an Egyptian term for their Western neighbors. It was now a fundamental part of the Greek understanding of the world's geography. This classical Greek idea of Libya as a continent would persist for centuries, influencing mapmakers and thinkers long after the glory of ancient Greece had faded, and ensuring the name would not be forgotten. When the Roman Republic rose to dominate the Mediterranean, it inherited much from the Greeks, including their geography and their names. After defeating Carthage in the Punic Wars and later annexing the Kingdom of Egypt, Rome controlled the entire North African coast. The Romans, practical as ever, divided this vast territory into several provinces for easier administration. The region of modern-day Tunisia became Africa, a name that would eventually supplant Libya for the continent. The lands further east were organized into provinces that sometimes used the old name, such as Libya Superior and Libya Inferior, which roughly corresponded to Cyrenaica and the region of Marmarica. The Romans, therefore, kept the name Libya alive, but in a more limited regional sense. It no longer referred to the entire continent in their official terminology, but it was firmly associated with the territories between Egypt and their province of Africa. Roman authors and poets, educated in the Greek classics, continued to use Libya in a broader, more poetic sense to evoke the deserts and mysteries of North Africa. The name echoed in their literature, a reminder of the deep history of the land. For Rome, Libya was a valuable part of the empire, a source of grain, olive oil, and exotic animals for the gladiatorial games in the Colosseum. After the Roman Empire split, the eastern half, known as the Byzantine Empire, took control of the North African provinces. Based in Constantinople, the Byzantines were Greek-speaking and saw themselves as the direct heirs of both Roman power and Greek culture. They maintained the Roman provincial structures, and so the name Libya continued to appear on their administrative maps. The region remained important, though it faced new challenges, including raids from desert tribes and internal religious disputes. The great cities of Cyrene, though diminished from their classical peak, still stood as sentinels of Byzantine authority on the African coast. This long period of Roman and then Byzantine rule, spanning nearly 1,000 years, acted as a crucial bridge for the name's survival. Although it had lost its grand continental meaning, Libya was never completely erased. It was preserved in the administrative language of two of the world's greatest empires. It remained etched on maps and in official documents, a quiet but persistent feature of the political landscape of North Africa. This continuity ensured that even as the classical world faded, the ancient name, first uttered by Egyptian scribes thousands of years earlier, was not lost to history. It was simply waiting for its next chapter. The 7th century AD brought a wave of change that would reshape North Africa forever. Arab armies, inspired by the new faith of Islam, swept out of the Arabian Peninsula and across the continent. They swiftly conquered the Byzantine provinces, bringing a new language, a new religion, and a new political order. As Arab rule was established, the old classical and Byzantine administrative names began to fade from common use. The name Libya, which had survived for so long, slowly disappeared from the maps and from the tongues of the people. It was replaced by a new set of names, rooted in Arabic geography and local identity. The region that we now know as Libya was not seen as a single entity. Instead, it was known by 3 distinct regional names that reflected its geography and major cities. The western part, centered around the city of Tripoli, came to be known as Tripolitania, or Tarabulus in Arabic. The eastern plateau, the site of the old Greek colonies, continued to be known as Cyrenaica or Barca in Arabic. The vast desert region to the south, with its scattered oases, was called Fezzan. For over 1,000 years, these were the names that mattered. People identified themselves as Tripolitanian, Cyrenaican, or from Fezzan, not as Libyan. Under various Islamic dynasties, from the Umayyads and Abbasids to the Fatimids, and eventually the Ottomans, these 3 regions often had separate histories. They were sometimes governed together, but just as often they were administered as distinct provinces. This long period of division reinforced the separate regional identities. The idea of a single, unified country called Libya simply did not exist during this time. The ancient name, once used by Greeks to describe a whole continent, was now a distant memory, preserved only in old European books and maps based on classical sources. The reality on the ground was one of regional loyalties. This fragmentation was a crucial part of the land's history. The distinct characters of Tripolitania, with its strong Mediterranean and commercial links, Cyrenaica, with its more conservative tribal society, and Fezzan, with its deep desert traditions, were solidified over these centuries. The disappearance of the name Libya was more than just a change in terminology. It reflected a political reality. The land was a collection of parts, not a unified whole. The thread connecting the land to its ancient name had seemingly been broken, lost in the shifting sands of time and the rise and fall of new empires. The thread of our story is picked up again at the dawn of the 20th century during the scramble for Africa. In 1911, the newly unified Kingdom of Italy, eager to build its own colonial empire, invaded the Ottoman provinces of Tripolitania and Cyrenaica. After a difficult war, Italy wrested control of the territories from the declining Ottoman Empire. The Italians now faced a challenge, what to call their new North African colony. They governed three distinct regions, Tripolitania, Cyrenaica, and Fezzan, each with its own name and history. They needed a single, unifying name for their new possession. Looking to history for inspiration and legitimacy, Italian scholars and officials reached back into the classical past. They rediscovered the ancient name Libya. For them, it was perfect. The name harked back to the era of the Roman Empire, an age the Italian state sought to emulate. By reviving the name Libya, they were casting themselves not as foreign invaders, but as the rightful heirs of Rome, returning to a land that had once been part of their ancestral empire. It was a powerful piece of historical propaganda, designed to justify their colonial ambitions, both at home and abroad. In 1934, the Italian government officially unified the three territories into a single colony named Libya, the Italian spelling of Libya. This was a hugely significant moment. For the first time in over 1,300 years, the name Libya was back on the political map, and for the first time ever, it officially designated a single, unified political entity comprising the three regions. The Italians built new roads, buildings and infrastructure, all under the banner of Libya. The name was printed on stamps, currency and government documents, becoming a part of daily life. However, this resurrected name was imposed by a foreign colonial power. For many of the local people who fiercely resisted Italian rule, the name Libya was initially associated with foreign domination and oppression. The famous resistance leader Omar al-Mukhtar fought and died for the freedom of his people in Cyrenaica, not for a unified Libya created by the Italians. Yet, ironically, the very act of uniting the three regions under one name and one administration began to sow the seeds of a shared national consciousness. People from Tripolitania, Cyrenaica and Fezzan began to see themselves, through their shared struggle against a common enemy, as part of a single land. After the turmoil of the Second World War, in which Libya was a major battleground, the age of colonialism was coming to an end. The United Nations decreed that the former Italian colony should become an independent state. On December 24, 1951, that dream became a reality. The country's new leader, King Idris I, who had been the leader of the Cyrenaican resistance, stood before the world and proclaimed the birth of the United Kingdom of Libya. The choice of the name was deliberate and profound. Instead of reverting to the regional names of the past, the new nation chose to embrace the name Libya. By choosing Libya, King Idris and the nation's founders were making a powerful statement. They were reclaiming the name from its colonial usage and making it their own. It was a name that was bigger than any single region. It transcended the old divisions of Tripolitania, Cyrenaica, and Fezzan. It was a neutral and inclusive name that all the people of the new country could share. More importantly, it connected the modern independent nation directly to the deep pre-Arab and pre-Ottoman history of the land. It was a declaration that this new country had roots stretching back thousands of years to the time of the Greeks, the Romans, and even the ancient Libu tribes mentioned by the pharaohs. Today, the name Libya carries the weight of this entire complex history. For modern Libyans, it is a symbol of national unity, a reminder that despite regional differences, they are one people in one country. It represents their shared struggle for independence and their collective aspirations for the future. The name links a Libyan citizen in Tripoli with one in Benghazi and another in the Fezzan Desert, binding them together with a shared identity that is both ancient and modern. It is a source of pride, a testament to the land's incredible resilience and its ability to absorb the influences of countless empires while retaining a core identity. The story of the name Libya is a powerful lesson in how names can endure, disappear, and be reborn with new meaning. From an Egyptian word for a desert tribe, to a Greek name for a continent, to a Roman provincial label, to its revival by Italian colonizers, and its ultimate reclamation by an independent nation, the name has been on an extraordinary journey. It is a living piece of history, a name that truly has been written in the sands of time, surviving empires and embodying the enduring spirit of the people who call this land home. If this journey through time gave you new insight, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Which country's name should we uncover next? Drop your suggestion below.